Okay, have a ADCC match 2022. We have Kade Ruotolo versus Galvao. Um, and this should be a good one. I do know who won this match, but I didn't actually watch the whole thing. So I'm just now getting around to actually watching the full match. So I figured I'd do a breakdown on it. If you haven't yet, click the link in the description where you can get access to all the strength and conditioning programs for the Sweet Science of Fighting Underground. And you can also submit your footage to be broken down. So let's get started on this one. And I'm going to try to keep up as best I can. I know the Ruotolos, these guys, they move like crazy. So I may be a little bit behind as things are going. I may miss some stuff, but I think this is a pretty long match. So I'm going to try not to address every single thing, just kind of the main things here. So there's going to be a lot of wrestling here in the beginning, or I think there will be. Maybe somebody will pull guard. I doubt it. So right now it's going to be a lot of hand fighting, a lot of gauging distance, a lot of fakes, and checking out responses, checking out timing, seeing what the reactions are. One thing about especially the Ruotolos is they're very dynamic, very kind of throw random things that you wouldn't expect, at different times. They mix it up very well, so they're a bit, I would say, unpredictable sometimes with their transitions, which makes it something very interesting. And as well as Galvao. Galvao just, I've watched a lot of his matches. His stuff is really good as well. Very dynamic. And again, like I said, I'm just gonna kind of play this out because I know that there's gonna be a lot of feeling out process here. It's like a trip. If I see something I want to dig down into, I will. So just kind of reached in for a single there. That was nice. Getting into a kind of a body lock position. Got the inside position here. And now you saw Ruotolo just switches like from the outside to the inside back into a judo toss here. This is an Uchimata position. And this position actually works really well with an overhook. So his hand's posted here, and we'll see if he can get. It's pretty common. See if he can get a takedown here. And generally, what happens is, if you don't get the takedown, since this is a very common response now to a lot of these, especially single legs, you'll see people switch to judo to do the Uchimatas. This is a very common response now. So a lot of times both players are ready and they end up in exactly this position. It's kind of like a dogfight position, dogfight wrestling position. And so usually we'll have like a bit of a disengage here or a reset. That was really interesting. So instead of going back to a neutral position, Galvao decided to actually follow with the movement and go into a spin to spin under, which he actually achieved. And now he's going to try to get back up. He still has the single here. He may switch this to a double. He just gets to the single. But now we have to watch out, though, because Ruotolo has an underhook on his arm here. So this can be difficult because this is going to get into like a bit of a neck cranking position or 100%. We call this the 100% when the arm is threaded over the head and under the armpit. So this will be really interesting to see what Galvao does with this. So he kind of falls to his side. It's going to be a little rough on the neck here, but he's facing down now, so he's fine. So he's going to be facing down to the ground. He's controlling the arm. So his head's out. So now that his head's out, now we can start to play standard guard stuff here. He's got a half guard. And again, Ruotolo's going to pin the arms here to get rid of these grips. He wants those grips removed. He's going to staple the Galvao's arm down here. Start to remove the grips. So now he has his upper body is connected. He's trying to get control. More of the upper body control. There's the upper body control. The issue is going to be here is that Galvao has the underhook. So there's going to be, there's going to be opportunity here for Galvao to actually start to escape because he does have the inside position. But there's just good pressure here by Ruotolo. He's just keeping that pressure down. He does have a good crossface on the far side here. So there's a crossface working here to keep Galvao flat, but the underhook's going to work well here for him not to be flat, for him to actually get out of this position. So it looks fairly calm here. He's just kind of waiting here. He's reaching for that far leg. Okay, so he's trying to sneak this leg in for the inside hook. He's going to try to off balance the Ruotolo over here to Kade over to the side, to his left. It's going to cause him to get rid of that cross face and post. That's at least that's the idea, I think. There's the post. So you see the arm has to come out. He has to get rid of the cross face. He has to get the post. Galvao staying connected here, trying to turn this into a sweep by using his right hook. Ruotolo steps over that hook, tries to go to a mount position, but there's hooks now. There's butterfly hooks. He's controlling the head. Galvao opts to go inverted here, which is really interesting. He's inverting here just to kind of get to the backside to kind of dodge this position. And this makes sense. He can actually produce an attack or possibly get to the back here. But he's staying mobile, which is great. So not really like he doesn't have a reaping position, didn't have a leg entry here. Or maybe he did, but it's very shallow. There's no knee line. So no knee line, some more of a calf slicer position here, but Ruotolo fell to the side here. They're side by side, kind of a north-south from each other. There's no knee line to be had, so we'll see who's gonna, if someone scrambles up here to try to get to the back or try to get to a back attack. There was a toe hold attempt to get Ruotolo to move, which it worked. So Ruotolo got back on top. He's just a butterfly grip on the body here, which is good. He's staying really connected, staying heavy with his hips. Again, the issue here is that Galvao has inside position. He has his arms on the inside. He has a hook here. So let's see how this plays out. The reason why he's doing this, shaking his arm here, is trying to get his arm higher and higher and higher. The higher he can get his arm up to, say, his right arm to reach the far shoulder here, to the Ruotolo's far shoulder here, the better his underhook is going to be. Just trying to get that underhook deeper. And Ruotolo's goes, I'm assuming he's fairly comfortable here. Most people wouldn't be. This is not the greatest position to be. Double unders, I don't know if the underhook is on the other side as well, but double unders with a butterfly hook is typically what the person on bottom wants. But he's staying really connected here to this top chest, like almost like a chest-to-chest connection with the underhooks here. Ideally, he'd obviously, Ruotolo would want the inside position here and have chest-to-chest, and then it's pretty much over. He just tripods and can start to pass, knee slice, and all this stuff while maintaining upper body connection. But, he seems fairly comfortable in this with the underhooks there. Yeah, so he has an underhook on this side. So they both had underhooks on each other. And there's the hook. I like how Kade keeps trying to had his hand on the collar tie and kept pulling his head, Galvao's head, towards his chest. This is good. It's not really can opener position. Can opener is more from closed guard, but I think it just really keeps the person kind of off the mat, so they can't really get those inversions and things that they want. It keeps them more up and connected. Plus, you can steer the person much easier. That's on bottom. There was a good leg entry there that I just missed, but it went to an osteogrammic position. Ruotolo turns knee down. There was really no good connection established, but it was a good entry. Connecting, just a drop pass. It's like a knee drop slice. So right here, you can see the foot stomp. I get this all the time now. People still foot stomp my leg. This was real popular. Last year everybody was just stepping on my leg. It is effective. It's a timing move. If you can just impede the bottom leg for a second, you can potentially time your pass just right to where you can get past without the person getting their knees retracted. So this is a very good position. It's a good game to play. But Galvao rips the leg off here, and he's going to establish a grip on the leg here, and he can go into de la Rivas and things like that. So he opts to go to a reverse de la Riva position here. Galvao has reverse de la Riva, and we're going to see how this plays out. So he doesn't have reverse La Hiva anymore. And I'm not even sure if he was actually really holding on to reverse La Hiva there to begin with. But it did kind of seem like it. This is very interesting that he has his legs wrapped across the body with a kind of wrapped and locked. It's almost like a full guard kind of lock. But the issue is that the knee, Kade's knee is like right here in the center, obviously. So this is interesting. Again, all these moves are pretty unorthodox. It's hard to say good, bad. I mean, and I honestly, I rarely say something's good or bad. Things have their place. There can be better options, like slightly better options. But at this level, people have to come up. The way I look at it is at this level, you can't just be doing things that kind of everybody knows. I can't just be doing, you do this, I do that, you do this, I do that. Like there's common reactions for everything. And at this level, you need to get really tricky and take risk and do things that are a little more unorthodox, that the responses are not what everybody else does, so, and that can work against you too. But the Ruotolos I've watched over the years are just they're very good at that, just kind of producing unexpected responses. So there's going to have a K guard now. So Galvao has a K guard. I don't know if Ruotolo's putting his hand on the mouth there to cover the mouth. He is. And this is actually, not a bad strategy. I've seen more guys doing this recently. It used to be considered kind of, I don't know, rude or something. But I've seen this being done more now. And this makes sense. I mean, if your hands are wrapped around somebody's leg and you have a free hand right here, if you're not punching the guy, you certainly could be using it just to impede the breathing of the person. It at least makes the person move, or it'll make the person abandon the position, and have to go into something else. So the K guard is actually established, and so we'll see if Galvao can get. And Galvao's doing good here. He's turning his face down to the mat. This is always it's interesting just how often I actually use this a lot too. Somebody starts framing on my face or knee on neck, and you can actually turn your face towards the ground, and you can usually it'll alleviate some of the pressure. And the reason why this K guard is going to be very difficult to actually pull off is, Kade's actually sinking far back here. He's sinking his hips back, and Galvao would really like to get his knee up on his chest and get his hips underneath Kade's hips. And I was waiting for the top leg to swing around. The top leg was swung around because the top leg was not being monitored. And this makes sense. I mean, generally, when you're in a K guard, the person on top is always going to have their right hand controlling the left foot here of Galvao, the top leg, just so it can't swing around like this. And now you can see the knee is now on top of the chest. And the reason why is because, obviously, Ruotolo actually had to retract here because he doesn't want to go down low because with this leg threading over, you're definitely getting into leg locks and possible arm attacks. But now that he's no longer sinking his hips back, his leg's becoming light. And so now his leg's going to be available. And it's okay. So he pulled the leg to the side. And it looks like, let me see here. Not sure what happened here. There we go. It looks like, I was going to say, he was controlling the leg, but now the leg's threading through. We'll see how good of a knee line we have here. But you see how he sinks his hips back here and sits on top of Galvao. So now he's crunched in. Not the most optimal position to be in, but I was going to say somebody's going to have to spin. They're going to end up in possible 50-50 position. So they're in a bit of a 50-50. No, it's tight. Let me see. Nope, take that back. So he switched to honey hole position. And you can see we're going to the pointed toes here. Ruotolo is actually pointing his toes, trying to hide his heel here and start spin to avoid the foot from getting, the big toe from getting caught into an inside heel hook. So he's successfully done that. And now Galvao is going to try to climb to top using the honey hole position. One of the things I'll always say about when you're attacking legs, a lot of times you can actually just, if the leg lock fails, you can go forward and go into actual pass. Sometimes you get leg drags and things like this, but you can always just kind of abandon the position and go into an actual pass because you technically kind of pass the guard sometimes when you're in some of these leg entanglements. Now we stood up again. We went to another Uchimata position here to a hip toss. And it worked this time, got him back to his back. But now we're in full guard with double unders. So Ruotolo decided to stand up here, which is just smart. The reason why a lot of guys, when you stand up here, what this does is it makes it much harder for the person on bottom. I mean, now, it's like he has to hold on. He has to use his strength. He has to use the strength of his legs and the strength of his arms just to hold on here. If one of these lets go, then he loses connection, and then it just kind of all falls apart. He'll just slide down the legs here. But now that we have this, in all the inside position is had here by Galvao, but now he's having to use his strength to actually hold on. His grip is going to help him out here just to save some energy. But certainly, it's definitely more draining for the person on bottom now, rather than if he was on his back. It'd be much less energy. All right, so now we have the double unders. Still hanging on here. We're going to see a couple things here. They're going to slide off, or Ruotolo's going to go back to the ground. Looking for head position, and you can see that Ruotolo's actually making it even more difficult now, because now he's trying to put his head or his forehead in under the chin of Galvao. And what this does is actually starts to create separation. The head now is not connected. Galvao would really like to have his head next to the Ruotolo's head, and this would make it much easier to hold on. But now that there's the head is being using as a frame, it's going to be you can spend a lot more energy doing this. And we can already see kind of hips are starting to separate here. Galvao's starting to slide down. He's still fighting for it, though. I mean, he's looking for an underhook here to go into the underhook for the arm to see if he can maybe get a arm bar attempt. So now he's lost upper body connection, and now he's going into the legs to actually produce a sweep possibly, or go into into a K guard position. There's the K guard position again, and we're going to see. Ruotolo's going to see if he controls the outside leg there. Nope, the leg gets thrown over again, just because Ruotolo did not grab the leg, the top leg. And now the leg, Galvao threw the leg around, and now we're back into a leg entanglement. Back to the same position. Ruotolo spins through, and now they're back into a leg entanglement. And Ruotolo's good here. He's up on his hips. His butt is not on the ground, so that's good. That's a very good thing, especially in this particular position. He's on his knee. He's probably keeping his very straight leg, and this makes it much more difficult for there to pull off a leg lock. So you can see the straight leg here. It's even behind the neck here. So, and now you can see it looks like he's going for his own leg attack. And then he opted to abandon it, and now he's going to throw the legs. Went into a double outside ashi there for Galvao for a second. He's a bit of in a double outside ashi, but not quite. He's opting to use this left leg as a frame on the hip to gauge distance, okay? If you were to actually cross this leg over to the side here and go into a double outside ashi, then he would actually start to have to deal with, Kade actually trying to attack his back. And this would be, obviously a problem. Not the end of the world. You can, he can still invert and do all that stuff here, but I do like that he has an underhook on the leg here. So this underhook can easily turn into a pass if he were able to get his legs here. If Galvao were able to get his legs here and get him on the hip and take the right leg off and get into a butterfly hook, he could actually start to do a technical stand up and start to actually maybe possibly put the sweep. Ruotolo seems pretty comfortable here. So he's like opening the legs here. I always say leg lock defense is somewhat straightforward. A lot of your basic leg lock defense: hide your heel, free your knee, separate the legs, right? Or a heavy leg. So this is going to be your kind of your standard formula for escaping legs. So now the knee line is being lost. Inside position is being lost. Now we pin. Okay, so look, so it's right there. I'm always saying be very careful here if you hang on to these leg positions, because as soon as that back step happens, Ruotolo is actually trying to get around what he would prefer is to have his right knee right here, right on the hip there, but he would like to have Galvao's leg between his legs. And what he's going to do is he'd roll to his shoulder, I'm trying to think of the left shoulder or right shoulder, I believe, and he's going to go into try to attack the back. Sorry, right shoulder. but he missed the hip line, and that's okay. He can still probably dive to the leg or sit to the side. And Galvao's using this like leg lace to get into a bit of a calf slicing position to possibly attack the back. So just kind of backsteps back and almost went back into a leg entanglement. And, Ruotolo's making it very difficult because he's controlling that outside leg and keeping the legs separated. As long as you keep the legs separated, it's actually very difficult to actually pull off some of these leg entanglements. Again, covering the mouth. And again, this is the power of understanding how to connect to the top of the, like chest to chest, attaching to the top of the body. And you don't have to worry too much about the lower body, right? If you can get attachment to the upper body and you can keep the person on bottom flat here, especially with this butterfly grip, then you can really drain the person on bottom here, because as long as you have good base and you can kind of keep loose hips here, kind of ride the wave, you can actually, your legs can come through later. Okay, so you got to keep that upper body connection. And again, Galvao's not in a bad position here. He has inside position. Ruotolo just really holding on to that top body connection. Again, Galvao reaches through, kind of trying to invert into this bit of a false reap position. He's covering the mouth. So now we're in a false reap position, but in a calf slicer position. Just because the Ruotolo's leg is his foot is obviously behind him. So, but we have a good slicer position here. I have not really seen. I guess I have seen some slicers pulled off at higher level, but it's actually very rare. But this is a perfect knee slice position. He has a figure 4 around the thigh. His forearm is wedged in between in the bend of the leg, and if he starts pulling on this, it's just really painful. And it's technically very difficult to get out of. I do like that he's doing a counter leg attack here. And this is the issue I always tell my guys with, see how he's got it. Ruotolo has a heel hook. Galvao has a knee slice. I always tell my guys there's a hierarchy in leg attacks, leg submissions, and slicers are at the very, very bottom. And the reason why is because it's a bit of a pain. It's more of a pain thing. Yes, it can damage the leg and you can hurt the person's leg. You can separate bone from muscle and maybe even pop a knee from it. But there is a lot of time you can play in a knee slicing position, like particularly this position, and while attacking the other person's leg with an actual lock that will actually break the leg. So a rotational lock or a straight lock. So like, even ankle locks, knee bars, I would say are, as far as submission wise, are superior. Clearly, obviously, heel hooks for any kind of rotational toe hold heel hooks are going to be somewhat superior to slicing positions. Slicing positions are really good. Honestly, I'll teach them as a form of control and a form of an entry into other leg attacks. So this is why I really don't teach a lot of knee slice submissions. I'm sorry, knee slicing positions, but I will show them in different ways to how to utilize them. So just want to go on a rant that for a second, just because I don't see the knee slice finished very often in high level. And particularly right here, you can see this. There's a bit of a heel hook position here. It's an outside heel hook. He just can't quite get the extension that he needs on the leg. And maybe if Ruotolo would have switched his grip from a traditional heel hook grip, and he actually used his left hand to scoop around to go for under the Achilles here and go for the rear naked choke grip, that would have been maybe different. Now the legs are getting separated, maybe. So Galvao lets it go. He's going to fight for top position. But again, Ruotolo they're so fast at just scrambling and always getting back on top. They're just so good at scrambling. And that Uchimata right there was just used to get Galvao's head to the ground so that he can just get back on top. It worked really well. You see it now, throwing over top of him. Good. That was a bit of an overcommitting, understanding how to overcommit someone that's pressing in too hard, too fast. Oh, just kind of throwing them over your head and then kind of resetting the position. There's a step on the leg there. You can see Ruotolo stepped his right leg on Galvao's leg. And he's using it just as a pin. You can see it right here. He's using it as a pin, and then he's controlling the top leg. He can do a double over knee slice, a knee ride here. He can do all kinds of different things. So the timer right. So he decided opted not to. He's going to step back to the inside to give some sort of entanglement. There goes the dropping the hip to a knee slice. Galvao does a little inversion. He's going to try to wrestle up here, but Ruotolo went back and pressured back in. Covering the mouth again. Posting on the neck. This is another thing we're seeing a lot more of. That's funny. So Galvao puts his hand over his mouth from the bottom, which can be good, which can be used actually to actually generate space if you're actually trying to play your guard. So they're both trying to just, cover each other's mouths. I mean, this gets reactions. Just understand that whenever you're trying to do, even your regular jiu-jitsu, you're always trying to just get reactions, right, from your opponent. If they're constantly causing you to react, then you're always playing catch up, playing defense. Again, we have an underhook on the leg here, and a bit of an Ashigrambe single leg X position. There's not quite the reap yet. So watch Galvao's right leg here. Could start to reap, and it's very subtle. But if you notice, Ruotolo had snuck his arm through there into a Estima lock, bit of a toe hold Estima lock using the belly or chest. So the Estima lock, and look, he's gonna really go for it. He's gonna fall back on this thing. It's brutal. So Galvao seems okay here, but that's pretty tight. And Galvao going for another leg entanglement. Now he switched over to double outside ashi because he's trying to get to the heel hook here. He's got the heel hook. He's in a double outside ashi, but now he has to be very careful with his back if he doesn't get the submission. Okay, he abandoned the submission, went into a K guard type thing, and then now he's back into. You've noticed now he has an ankle lock grip on the leg here. Again, inverted back to get almost look like a knee bar, but Ruotolo had recognized this, sat back down, and now they're going to be in a 50-50 type of position. It's an 80-20 position because now the right knee, Galvao's right knee is forcing down, going down to the ground. So now it's a slightly better leg entanglement position for Galvao. But again, Ruotolo's up on his legs here, and he's pointing his foot. Going to unwind the leg. There we go. Going to frame the leg down, and Galvao has to be very careful with the back step here. There's the back step. I mean, it seems like this is bad, but it's not. You can see just the angle's not correct to finish the leg. If Galvao tried to do anything here, he'd just be trying to break the shin in half, which is going to hurt his arm before he actually hurts. As long as Ruotolo keeps his leg turned, right, and gives him the shin and not the ankle, then he's good. Now he's got a heavy leg, and now the knee line is gone. Now he's trying to pressure through. So going back to inverting. Knee line's gone. Still trying to attack the leg. Okay, so we're out. He just high stepped out. They're going to reset the position back to the center of the ring. Going for this reverse Lahiva. It's not really. Maybe it's not even reversal heel because his right hand is not Galvao's right hand is not grabbing the leg. It's more of like a half guard type position, retracted half. You could even say it's a Z guard type. Now it's technically a little more of a Z guard now. You can really see him framing Ruotolo away with that, the hand on the mouth thing. There's a hand on the mouth again. So again, just trying to get a reaction. I mean, you're not gonna submit the person or anything. So there goes the knee line. He turned the knee to get the knee out, and immediately you see Galvao controlling the posture. Ruotolo try to step around, inverting. It's very difficult to pass somebody's guard when they're that flexible and that good. It turns out it's very difficult to actually pass a guard like this, especially stand passing. You really have to pressure through and grind through something like that. Going for a wrist lock. Look at that. So he's going for a wrist lock there, and on the wrist that's wrapped up. That's messed up. That's okay, but it's good. So he needs to be careful here. Actually, that's pretty strong right there. I mean, as long as he doesn't control. And the thing with wrist locks typically is you really need to control the elbow. I mean, you have to block off the arm. So in other words, if you have to gotta have a wall right there behind the elbow to really get that pressure of the wrist pressuring down. You have to stop the elbow from moving. So in this open position, Galvao can just kind of he can still move his elbow around. He should be okay. Again, just trying to get a reaction here. I like the attempt, and then like that's a knee slice, just kind of from standing, boom, just drop the hip, going to his knee slice. He looks like he got it. He may have beaten the top leg here for the reset. Galvao has a frame here, but we already have the arm pin on the bottom. Good. So went back to an inversion, back to a reset. Stomping on the leg again. Notice the foot stomp. He's going to try to. Galvao's grabbing this leg so that he can pull and then kick his leg to rip that off. There it is. Trying to get him back on his back. Okay, Galvao. Going to possibly a false reaping position. And I really like this when he keeps throwing this his bottom leg over the far hip here, and this is actually really good. He's got to be careful with leg locks, but when he throws the leg over here, I mean, essentially it's a bit of a closed guard position. He can't just Ruotolo can't just like walk around this, right? I mean, he's blocking it off with this leg, so he can certainly knee slice through, which he's done several times. He can use his right knee just to kind of slice through. But I do like that Galvao plays this kind of open guard here. It's an open closed guard with the knee on the center. This produces calf slicing positions. This produces false reap positions. A lot of leg entanglements, honey hole, and all this can to inversions to the back. So this is a really good position, and it stops that kind of walk around position, right, or walk around guard pass. It does leave you a bit vulnerable to knee slices, and things like that. But as long as he has his left arm wedged under the leg here. He can prevent a lot of the passing. So this makes it a bit of a dilemma. Because you can't really knee slice if the left arm is wedged between your leg, right? I mean, you can't. Ruotolo can't knee slice. So all angles are cut off here. You just have to get very clever at passing. And that's what's happening here. Now you're seeing some pressure passing. Ruotolo is really using his head now to kind of put his head in the chin and try to get, Galvao flat to the ground. Just getting that good pressure, constant pressure. There's the false reap. You can see that the left leg threw over top. False reap, the arms on the inside. Ruotolo has a good pin on the bottom leg here, so we'll see if Galvao follows through with this. He doesn't. He opts to go back to the hook. Now they're back in that same position where there's an underhook and there's a hook with the leg here. And then we'll see if Ruotolo starts to try to get chest to chest connection. So right now he just has an overhook. He tried to get chest to chest. Galvao pushed him away, threatening to go underneath, like his dragon style. He does get underneath, but now he's going to go into more of an X guard type position or deep half position. So now you can see the calf slicers on the back leg here. So he has a calf slicer. That's what's keeping the control and the connection. This is what I was talking about earlier with the knee slice position. You can use knee slices to actually get connection to your opponent, especially in no-gi. This is very important from the backside as well. So now he has control of the far leg and he has control of the close leg with his arm. So from here, you can start to work. But Ruotolo is a really good thing here. He sits back on top, and this kind of kills a lot of the position. Where this position really shines is if Galvao can get Ruotolo, going away from him, like going into a running position. This is where you can actually start to produce things. But if you just kind of sit back on the person here, yeah, you're not going anywhere, you're stuck. But the person on bottom is going to have a hard time doing anything. And you can see the hook was switched there. Galvao switched his hook for his outside hook, so now he threw it to the inside. And this could possibly produce backside 50-50 positions if he can get that left knee next to his hip. But the knee is free here. You can already see as soon as he switched that leg to the inside, because the knee is not next to his hip, he's still in this calf slicing position. If the knee was next to his hip, he could start to do a heel hook, a backside 50-50 heel hook. But the knee's gone. Ruotolo's knee's out. But this is a pretty strong now belly down heel hook from the outside position. And this is a common threat that you'll see from someone doing backside 50-50. If they get too lazy with that top leg and it kind of shoots through, you can actually produce a counterattack here. And it looks like he bellied down to a heel hook, and it looks like Galvao just tapped. Yeah. So the issue was when he threw that leg, the outside leg through to the inside, it kind of fed the leg. He fed the leg to Ruotolo, and because Ruotolo's knee was free, he had a free knee line. There was no really threat from a leg attack from Galvao. Galvao could have tried to start to scramble and get to the back, but there was too much entanglement there, especially since Galvao had a hold of his other leg as well. So I don't know that certainly throwing the outside leg to the inside was not something that should have been done, because clearly he got caught and he was tapped. But just, this goes to show you got to be very careful when you thread that top leg through without having the knee line. When you start playing leg game, you know that when you attack legs, you give your legs for the most part. There are a few positions to where your legs can actually be safe and not be counterattacked, but certainly these kind of scrambles, there was a lot of availability to attack. So, switching the leg, hindsight, but I don't think it was wrong. I just think that there was just an opportunity there. So, but that was good. That was a very good match. A lot of movement, a lot of real fast-paced pace, and it was just that was good. That was really good. I remember watching the end of this. I didn't watch the whole thing, so really good on both these guys. Long breakdown, 38 minutes. So, guess I'll cut it at that. But yeah, we'll keep doing more of these ADCCs. All right, thanks.